What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Hope you've been having an incredible week thus far. Hailing in here from Miami, Florida, and wherever you are in the United States or internationally throughout the world, I hope that you've been taking action and you've been making progress towards your goals. That's really, at the end of the day, I think what I wish most for you. The person who's listening to this show, if you're listening on the way to work, in the car, while you're doing dishes, whatever it is, you're working to really upgrade your skill set, to upgrade your mind, to understand the tactics and techniques that go into a successful crowdfunding campaign. I hope that wherever you are, you are also taking this information and you're putting it to work. You're taking some action towards your goals. And, for me, the reason why I started this show was not only to teach and, share teachings and tips and techniques, but to bring on real world examples. Like, for example, today's podcast guest is actually also a student of crowdcrux.com. So they actually joined my online forum. I don't know if you guys know, I got an online forum called kickstarterforum.org where you can share your project, you can get tips and advice, you can ask questions and that kind of stuff on kickstarterforum.org. And they were actually a member there when they were studying the art of crowdfunding. And this is when they were first getting started with their projects in 2017. And lo and behold, after doing all the work, after learning the proven techniques, after actually understanding the strategy behind a crowdfunding campaign, they launched a mega campaign raising over $1 million through a Kickstarter and an Indiegogo InDemand for Ergo Posture Transformer. And they actually came back on the show today to share with you their latest project, Back Transformer, which has already raised over $240,000 on Kickstarter from more than 2,400 backers. And they get into exactly what worked for them when it comes to setting a goal, when it comes to setting a duration, when it comes to the reward tier, their approach to marketing and strategy. They share all of that with you on today's podcast episode. And like I said, this is exactly why I started the show, man, is to have tons of incredible guests, entrepreneurs, creators, inventors on this show who want to make it big and who do, and they come back and they share their story with you. So for me, that's my passion. That's my labor of love. It's also something that I get to do. And I would love it so much. First of all, if you take this seriously, like if you actually book some time in your schedule to really set aside and to work on this project. And if that's kind of where you are, you're in the learning phase, I got a great resource for you. If you've never done a Kickstarter campaign before and you really want to understand the strategy behind it, if you want to understand what you got to do step by step to actually assemble a campaign, how to get a rockstar page together, how do you promote the heck out of this thing and market and drive traffic to it, I got a great free course out there for you, which I will include the link right now. That link is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. That link is crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. That's crowdcrux.com/Kickstarter. You can go there, enter your name and email. Start getting some training videos from me, really getting you up to speed with how to actually launch one of these campaigns, how to blow past your goal, and how to have success when it comes to crowdfunding. Now, in addition, I have some people who listen to my show and they're like, Sal, that's great for beginners, but I'm like more of an advanced person, or I really want the cutting edge techniques. What's working today? Like the most cutting edge information, resources, tips, tools. I want access to that. Like, what do you got for me? And I always point them to my Killer Crowdfunding Tips newsletter, which I send out every single week. And this is I'm telling you, the cutting edge stuff, right? This is the newly minted crowdfunding tactics and tips that I don't share anywhere else. I just share it with my community. So if that sounds interesting to you, want to hop on the Killer Crowdfunding Tips newsletter, which I send out every single week. This is probably for more people that are a little bit advanced, or you do want to at least get get the ball rolling, kind of peer ahead when it comes to launching a campaign and really understand what you got to do, what's working now. You can go to this link I'm about to mention at crowdcrux.com/newsletter. That link is crowdcrux.com/newsletter. Crowdcrux.com/newsletter will take you there. Enter your name and email, and you will join my Killer Crowdfunding Tips newsletter. And we get thousands of people that receive that every single week. So you'll be also a part of the growing crowdfunding demystified community. That being said, let's jump right into this episode and let's discover how this individual was able to raise millions of dollars using Kickstarter and Indiegogo InDemand, how they were able to smash through their goal with their most recent campaign as well and raise over $240K, attract more than 2,400 backers, and build a legacy, build a brand – off of Kickstarter. It's coming up right after this. Hey guys, welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Today we have a legend on the show who has actually done multiple campaigns with crowdfunding. Their current campaign, or most recent campaign, has attracted more than 240,000 from more than 2,400 backers. Not only that, but they are also a member of our forum, Kickstarter forum, which is designed to help people just like you get information and also share positivity and tips with the community. And I am lucky enough to speak with the creator of this product today. Marina, welcome to the show.
Salvador, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Definitely. I have been looking forward to, having this conversation with you. So maybe we can get started. For those that are not familiar with who you are and what you've been doing in the crowdfunding niche, can you maybe just give a bite-sized introduction and we can start there?
Well, my partner and I, we own a company called Perfector Corp, and we invent, design, and manufacture wearable elastic resistance exercise devices. We're pretty much created a new category in fitness and support. We focus on people who sit at computers all day and are slouching or have chronic issues with back, neck, or shoulder pain. And what we do is we help people improve their posture. And once you improve people's posture, a lot of their chronic pain goes away. And
it's a huge problem. Like even myself, I'm slouching right now at this desk. It's a huge issue.
Well, we never like to judge. We don't like to judge because when we first started many years ago, test marketing our products, we did shows, consumer shows like home shows and wellness shows, and people would walk by the booth and they'd immediately correct their posture. But we never wanted anybody to feel bad because it's a universal problem. It's not our fault. It's gravity. It's getting us down. So we're just trying to create solutions that are more advanced than what was already out there that just never seemed to really have a good market fit for people. It wasn't really a viable solution. We created the devices for ourselves first. And when they worked for us, we were like, okay, we've got something that we can go to the public with.
Tell me the story of when you really decided to hone in on this problem. Was this a problem for you? Was it for loved ones? Like, what made you really passionate about solving this one?
This is so funny because it goes back to the genesis of the invention. I met my partner, Colin, who actually is the inventor of the wearable elastic resistance device. I met him many, many years ago. I was suffering from chronic sciatic pain. I had been through every type of treatment you can imagine. And we were both doing large projection visuals for nightclubs and selling our video clips to this one broker. And we ended up in his living room at the same time. And Colin had invented basically this rubber tube that wrapped around your body. It was a harness. It wrapped around your arms and your legs. And he strapped me in it. And for the first time in my life, the first time in 30 years, I stood up straight.
Wow.
And I could not believe that all my chronic pain was due to my posture. Now, I had seen chiropractors, physiotherapists, the gamut, and nobody had ever mentioned how bad my posture was and that could have been the reason for all my chronic pain. And that device, in that moment, it changed me. I was also looking, for something exciting, something new. And I said, do you have a business plan? And he was like, yeah. And I said, let me see it because this is smart. This is a smart thing.
That was actually one of the questions I was about to ask you, which is, was this your first business? Have you done a e-commerce company before or this kind of company, or was this your first company?
Wow. No, I've had a long career and worn many different hats. When I met Colin, I actually had already had 2 or 3 businesses at the time, was well versed in how to write a business plan, execute a certain business. But, in those early days of being an entrepreneur, there's a lot of failure. Success comes from failures. So yeah, this was probably my 5th attempt at creating a successful business.
Yeah, and I think that's so incredibly important, right? It's like we only see sometimes those massive successes, or see you, raising over 200K, and we stop to forget that a lot of times you have to go through failure to really achieve that, right? So when it came to this, why did you decide to bring this to crowdfunding? Like, I know you've launched a couple of different campaigns initially. What really sparked your foray into that?
Well, one of the most exciting things that happened for us happened in 2016. So we had gone out there with an early prototype, where we had gotten to a point where, we could be front facing with the public with it and tested it on people. So the device got tested on like 20,000 people before we ever decided to do a Kickstarter. And this is why. In 2016, you weren't allowed to do, or just previous to 2016, you were not allowed to do exercise equipment on Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. So that changed with sometime in 2016, and we saw a woman go out there and do $1 million campaign with a company called a product called Better Back.
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was all over the news too. Wow.
Oh, she blew it up, and and I was like, wait a second, this is us. This is our category. If they're allowing it, let's go for it. And we worked on our page, our campaign page, and we launched. And in 7 days, we didn't make even $1,000. And I said, whoa. We have the potential. Let's cancel and let's rework the page. And at that point, who had reached out to us? Funded Today. They had reached out to us. And I spoke with one of the reps there, Jordan, and he's like, your page is confusing. I don't know what you're selling me. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it. It's the age-old KISS. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, let's reel back.
It's so easy to forget too, like as the creator and the inventor, right? You spend so much time thinking through the specs and the functionality, and it's so hard to kind of get that third person view, for sure.
Well, when we relaunched, and we did use them as our marketing ad manager, and they held our hands. Do you know that campaign made $767,000, and we went on to Indiegogo to make over $1 million.
Incredible. Gosh.
Yes. So our first campaign.
Yeah.
Oh, what did it feel like?
Yeah, I was going to say, like,
laughed at us.
Like you think about that. You've been working, so hard, and you've been iterating and gone through a couple of, failures. You persisted through that. Like, what did it feel like to really connect with the ball, right? And to see that?
Well, I'll tell you, we were up to our eyeballs in debt, and we were really, this was the last straw. And if it hadn't worked, we wouldn't have been here today. So the relief of having the success. I mean, some days we were making $50,000. Like, can you imagine what people make in 1 year we were making in a day? It was staggering, the success. And watching those numbers go up, that ticker never stopped for the whole month. It's what everybody dreams of. It's like a visible, all your hard work, all your sweat and the tears, all of a sudden, there it is, the success that everybody waits for. And but our friend said, you guys are a 10-year overnight success. It took us 10 years to get to the point where we were that success.
And one of the things I love about it is even though you did have that success, you continue to be a part of the community. You mentioned before in the pre-show how you contribute to our forum as well and kind of learn from that. And you're even coming on the podcast now and sharing tips and advice. So I love the way that you're still continuing to participate, right? Despite having that massive win there.
Oh, your name has been there from the very beginning because of the forum. We cross-check everything on the forum. The community is key to running successful campaigns, and there are pitfalls and there are fraudulent people that will take advantage. And to this day, even just this last campaign in the last 60 days, we handed over money to people and we got zero return on investment for what they said that they would do for us. So yeah, you got to be vigilant. You got to do as much research as you can, because you can't go it alone. You have to use the community, whether there be newsletters, ad managers, the forums, just anything to navigate your way through a successful campaign and not get taken advantage of. Because there are people that are out there that are looking to take your money and not give you anything in return.
Yeah, and it can be very difficult, particularly if you're doing your first time and you're on a ticking time clock, right? To really deliver it and to get everything squared away. So super difficult. So it sounds like one tip, one advice for people that are listening would be do your homework, cross-check references and really try to do a little bit of diligence before you get into running the campaign. Do you feel like there's like another takeaway, maybe when it comes to your backers or when it comes to the community you've built that you'd like to pass on to the community?
Well, I'll tell you something. This was our 5th campaign, and all of our campaigns have made the goal, but not all of them have been financially successful. But we have delivered on every single campaign. We didn't maybe profit off of every one of them, but we made sure to deliver. So this is your opportunity as a brand to create your own tribe, your own community of people that use your products. Going into it, you need to be conscientious of your backers. You have to have a good customer service persona. You have to be gracious. Even if you get attacked by trolls, which we have many times, and it's been vicious sometimes, you got to approach it as professionally as possible. And you really need to be conscientious. You're asking people to give you their money first. There's a lot that can go on in, we manufacture a tangible product. So the post-production for us is intense. And people want it delivered on time, they can get really unruly if you don't give it to them by the time that they hope to.
Yeah.
So I would say, go in there thinking that, you're working for the people that are giving you their money. At this point, So if you are conscientious to those people and those backers, you can have a long-term relationship with them. I wish I knew, it's always, I wish I knew now then what I know now. I wish I had I had created a more active tribe after we got our first 10,000 backers.
What do you mean by that?
Well, we delivered the product and we didn't really keep up with them until we relaunched maybe a year or two later. Those 10,000 people were anxious to continue to hear from us, whether it was through a newsletter that they could have signed up with or additional products that I could have followed up with, a podcast, anything. But I had gotten 10,000 backers that I could have turned into long-term customers, and I didn't. And it's one of the biggest regrets that I have. Because circling back now, I still have a pretty good return rate. If I send out an email to those original backers, 20% of the people will open them. And some of those people have bought all 4 of our products, which is exciting, that they continue to support the brand and they like the products.
Says a
But
lot too.
if I had done a better job, I would have created a stronger tribe.
I think that's so difficult, obviously if it's your first time or your first big win to just remember to do that. But it is, like you said, it's a relationship, right? And the more that you can strengthen that relationship, the more significance you have, right? And it's really, like you said, brand building as well. So, thank you for sharing that. And, for someone who is like, Marina, I hear you, you're going to have to go up against trolls, you're going to be public, right? Someone might steal your idea. What do you say to someone who comes to you and is like, I want to have, a big campaign. I want to get attention, but I'm really afraid about that aspect. What would you say to that person?
Well, it's all happened to us. Somebody completely ripped off our product and put it up on Kickstarter and Indiegogo. We reached out to Kickstarter and Indiegogo, and they didn't take the project down. Even though we have a patent on our devices, They were like, "You're on your own for this." Luckily, I get where they're coming from. They can only do so much for you. They're not your watchdog. They really care about their platform, not your business. So you've got to take the chance. You sure as heck should have some sort of intellectual property rights behind you if you want to move into the mass market and end up selling e-com and through Amazon or whatever. You've got to protect your interests. Don't be afraid. I tell people this all the time. If your campaign's not doing what you want it to do in those first 7 days, cancel. I've canceled 3 campaigns and relaunched them, but for different reasons. But if it's not going your way and you've got that feeling in your gut that it's just not, you're not happy, it's not going well, cancel. The moment of relief of just canceling it and giving yourself a second chance. I've seen people push through and just make $1,000 over their goal. Well, you know what? With all the fees and the costs, they're not going to be able to deliver, which is the other factor. The sad part about this is that crowdfunding, we need to have some sort of ethics and morals about this. There's a lot of people that use this platform, make $1 million, and nobody ever hears from them again. That gives me a bad name. I'm a creator that gets slotted in. The comments on our ads end up being, "Oh, I got burned by my last 5 Kickstarters. I'll never back again." And I'm the one that has to say, well, wait a second. We deliver every time. We wouldn't be allowed. Kickstarter does not let you back on the platform if you default on a project.
Yeah.
So,
I think there has to be more education for backers so that they understand also how to go about vetting a project, right? Or just making sure that people are dotting their I's and crossing their T's, right? And there's like nothing like that out there. So being a smart consumer, right? Being a smart backer. If you're worried about the fulfillment and shipping part of your Kickstarter campaign when it comes to getting out all those perks and rewards to your backers, rest assured I've put together a complete Kickstarter fulfillment and shipping checklist for you, and it's free. This is sponsored by the folks at Fulfillrite, and they thought that you should have this checklist as part of your arsenal going into a crowdfunding campaign. If you want to get instant access to this checklist, and it's free, you can go to fulfillrite.com/checklist. Again, that is fulfillrite.com/checklist, fulfillrite.com/checklist. Just go to that link and you can download it immediately. One of the questions that kind of came to mind when you were talking there is, okay, so this idea of like canceling your campaign, I do like how you're very comfortable with failure and pushing forward, but some people are like, will canceling my campaign hurt my brand? Will it make people not take me seriously? What are your thoughts behind, a question like that?
it has not affected us. I mean, we canceled the first one. We canceled We've canceled 3. The very first one that we did, we canceled and we never pursued. The second one that we were successful at, we canceled it and relaunched. And then we actually canceled ErgoMax and relaunched, I think it was almost 6 months later, due to actually trolls. We had an effort by about 6 or 7 people that got on and bombed our comment board the first day. Now, you wouldn't think that the posture business was a cutthroat business, but it is. There's a lot of people out
It's
there
a big problem
that are
too.
competitive. Yeah. So,
You got to do it. And obviously you guys been so successful despite that. And, I love that. And kind of more of on a positive note. So I do have some like tactical questions I want to ask you, but on more of a positive note, you've been in this game for a while now and you've delivered successfully and you've seen the highs, and you've seen some of the lows as well. For you, what's been the most rewarding memory of this entire experience throughout crowdfunding? What's been the most rewarding memory for you, the one that stands out to you as being positive?
I have to say it's the day the money is deposited into the account. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the money that is collected in a 2-week, it used to be a 3-week period, but it's collected in a 2-week period. There's usually a lot of failed transactions that Kickstarter goes back and asks people to update their cards, and then you never get what the amount you see is. So you might make 240,000, but you never actually get 240,000 because Kickstarter takes their fee and there are failed transactions. But when that amount gets deposited in one big giant lump sum, it's worth it because you have all the money you need to do the project. You can pay you can put in your purchase orders, you can pay your suppliers, it creates your business. You've got the cash flow, and that's exciting. It feels great. Your bank account goes from a minus to a plus, so it feels really good.
Yeah, and I mean it's obviously testament as well to all that hard work, right? You've put in up until that point, and it's kind of like the cool culmination event. Like it actually worked, so really freaking cool. So I just have like 1 or 2 tactical questions for you. So one of the things I noticed with your recent campaign is I think you guys did a 60-day duration. A lot of people out there, myself included, we usually will, talk about having a 30-day duration. Was there a reason behind your choice to have a longer duration with this campaign?
That's very interesting because we did 4 campaigns at 30 days. And what we know now is, and this is from experience, but it's also from watching how things change over time. 60 days is enough time to launch a TikTok ad campaign and get some traction. 60 days is enough time to have a lull in the middle of your campaign and still make over six figures. A 30-day campaign, you've got a strong first week and a strong last week. Those 2 weeks in the middle usually dip down, and it's very hard to make enough to make a big impact. That's been the ad managers might tell you something different because they want the sense of urgency. But at this point, I would say a longer campaign is going to guarantee you over $100,000. Because let's put it this way, at the 4-week mark, we were at about 75,000. Mm-hmm. So those other 4 weeks gave us a significant amount of money. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We did an 8-week campaign. No, did we do 8 weeks?
I believe it was 60 days.
60 days. I'm sorry, 60 days.
It was a profound impact considering where you were at 30. So I love that, because we talk about like best practices, but there are so many examples that go counter to that. And kind of being aware of those, right, as a beginning creator is very important as well. And every product category is different. So I love the fact that worked for you, and it sounds like that's been working, right? That kind of a strategy.
It's the first time we did it.
Oh, okay.
It worked.
Yeah. Awesome. One of the other quick, tactical questions I had for you was on rewards. So there's a lot of advice out there, like you should do super early birds, you shouldn't. I noticed you did a flash sale, which is really interesting. Did you have any things you've learned about rewards or perks that you wanted to pass on in terms of advice?
It's very psychological. You're really, but people want the deal. But right now, there's a very interesting, people will say, oh, give them free shipping, but that's going to bring up, there's no free shipping. Shipping is one of your biggest lines on your budget. Mm-hmm. It's extremely expensive to ship. And the backers need to know that. So this free shipping needs to be embedded in the price, because otherwise you're going to work at a loss. Mm-hmm. So separate your shipping and collect it after.
Got it.
Focus on the lowest price that you can give your backers and that's what we did as a flash sale. Now, based on what the ads cost and the fees, we might not make a very big profit at all on that flash sale, but those first backers give you the momentum. Mm-hmm. So that early bird pricing is key to positioning you as a popular campaign and giving your other backers some sort of validity. So yeah, you've got to really think it through. A flash sale, that was the first time we ran a flash sale, and that was a good idea. Mm-hmm. We sold, and then we also did limited edition in black this time, which was a really cool thing. We did that in the campaign in 2017. We did a limited edition black shield with just one part being, so it would be two-tone. This time we did a limited edition, completely separate color. But people after were like, oh, I missed out, I want the black. Well, there were only 300, and that's that, mm-hmm. So
it has
that helps people lock in.
It has that cool psychological component for sure, and it gets people's attention, right, and it makes them pay attention as well throughout the campaign, I'm sure. So I want to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit as well, about your product as we're coming to the close. So, for those people that, like me, are probably hustlers, are entrepreneurs, are office workers, are, obviously having to go through 9 to 5, maybe working afterwards, or they're running their business full time, posture is so incredibly important. Why is your product something that should be on everyone's radar? How does it really address that problem in a unique way?
Well, up to this point, people look at posture as something that they don't think that they have to practice on a daily basis. You can't just cinch your posture or brace your posture and then take off the brace and think that your body's going to have that muscle memory. We created a wearable posture exerciser. It features, it's based on the science of elastic resistance. You use it to stretch and flex. So posture is a multitude of things, but really it comes down to exercise therapy is what's going to help your posture. So we created a back support that holds you in the proper alignment, but then a system that helps keep your circulation good, your flexibility good, your range of motion, and you practice it on a daily basis. So you only have to use it an hour a day to get benefits. But the longer you wear it, based on the fact that it's elastic resistance and it's applying force to your body, the stronger you get. This is an overgarment. People think that posture, I don't know, it's a very, personal issue. So a lot of people feel embarrassed about their posture and they'd rather ignore it than take action. What we're doing is we're giving you a piece of wearable exercise equipment. You use it intermittently. You use it for the rest of your life. There's no batteries. There's no electronics. It's based on a rubber tube. It's just ergonomically designed, and it's intelligently designed. But it does what it says it's going to do. And if you use it the way we instruct it, it's going to work for you every time.
And you got people, like I said, supporting your campaigns time and time again, and you have long-term customers. So for those that are interested in learning more, where can they check out your product? Where can they learn more about your product and your campaign?
Well, right now we're on Indiegogo InDemand, which I always suggest every Kickstarter campaign switch over to InDemand, because why leave money on the table? If you've got a successful campaign, keep selling. You can get it on InDemand right now. Just search Back Transformer if you go to Indiegogo. And otherwise, if you go to our original campaign, Back Transformer on Kickstarter, you can click that little button and it'll bring you to the page on Indiegogo. And you can pre-order it, and those will be shipping in September. So yeah.
Great. And for the audience, I also recommend just going and checking out their page. Really well designed, very well done. Take a look at how they did their video. And also you can obviously check out their product, and they're now in demand. So my final question for you, and we can end on this note, is we could end either with a final tip that you'd like to give beginning crowdfunders. It could be a bit of advice that someone else in your career has given you. It could be a favorite quote, or just a word of inspiration for anyone out there who's hustling towards their dreams. And we can end on that note.
I want to be honest as possible with people. You really do need to have some money going into a campaign for it to be as successful as our campaigns have been. So if you want to raise anything between 50,000 upwards of 100,000, you have to have advertising dollars. And it's you're looking at maybe a 3 or a 2 return on your ad spend. So it's expensive to make over 6 figures, but it's worth it if you've got your numbers correct and you've got a profit margin, you know what you're making, and you're ready to launch, and you want to be that successful. Know going in that you have to put money into the advertising to be successful in crowdfunding.
Well said. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it, and all of your contributions as well. And good luck with your next campaign.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You do such great service for all of us, and it's been really enjoyable.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Crowdfunding Demystified podcast. Oh man, was that a whopper of an interview, and also bringing on someone who's really entered the Hall of Fame, right, when it comes to crowdfunding, having done $1 million campaign, which is incredible, which is amazing. And honestly, I think it's something that literally anyone out there in the universe, anyone out there listening to the show can pull off a mega raise. It's really about understanding the tactics, the strategy, the step-by-step, the how-to, really the missing pieces of the puzzle that go into that style of raise. And also, of course, there's the product and market fit. There's the market size that you're going after. There's your approach. There's a lot of things, obviously, that go into a successful crowdfunding campaign. And a lot of people come to me and they're like, Sal, I've been listening to some of the podcasts or watching your YouTube channel. You can search me on YouTube under my same name, Salvador Briggman. Got a ton of different videos on that YouTube channel for free that you can access. I also look at my blog, crowdcrux.com. Maybe might be listening to a couple of different podcasts. Like, you know what? This sounds great, but I really want to speed up the process. I really just want to get from A to Z very quickly. I want to launch a campaign. I want to get this out there. I want to do it right. I really want to make sure that I hit it big. I blow past my goal and I check all the boxes. I don't want to have to worry about all the things, the components, the mechanics, right, of actually getting the crowd to show up and fund you. And if that sounds like you, I think honestly one of the best investments which you can make when it comes to going through this entire journey is to invest in an individual coaching call where we can really not only get to the brass tacks of what you got to do to raise money, but also examine your strategy. Examine where you are when it comes to your product, your campaign, whether it's a board game, something more tabletop related, whether it's a physical product, something you've just created or invented. Could be a design product, could be an artistic endeavor like a book. We actually get a ton of authors that book individual coaching calls with me. And what you get is not only the individual coaching call, but also action items, homework, introduction to resources and tools and people that you might not know that you want to know in the industry, and really the confidence to go out there and execute on this, whether that's doing it yourself, maybe getting my team to help you or having me involved in some way. Whatever it is, this is one of the best investments which you can make when it comes to launching an effective crowdfunding campaign. So if you want to explore that option for you and you're really getting serious about this and you don't want this to just be another flop, right? Or something you tried out a little bit maybe in the past and you just kind of lost interest, or you didn't, persist when it came to that motivation. If you really want to follow through this time, go and check out the link I'm about to mention at crowdcrux.com/coaching. That link is crowdcrux.com/coaching. That's crowdcrux.com/coaching. Go and check out that link. Fill out a little bit of information there so I know about what you're working on, know about the product, know more about your expectations, what you're trying to raise money for, all those kinds of things. And we can get that call scheduled ASAP. Again, that link is crowdcrux.com/coaching, crowdcrux.com/coaching. Thank you so much, man. Hope you've been enjoying some of the episodes I've been putting out recently. And if you have, this show exists for people just like you. So show some love, show some enthusiasm. Go and leave a positive rating and review on iTunes. Become a part of the community and really enjoy the journey which you're on right now, which is bringing a whole new product into the world, something that's never existed before, building a brand from scratch, making your name in a new industry. And it is one of the most exciting times of your entire life. I'll tell you, you're going to be looking back on this journey with like fond memories when you are successful, iterating, doing lots of new stuff, learning, and really being like a student, if you will, of crowdfunding. So thank you so much. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Take some action this week, and I will see you next time.